Alright everyone, I'm here to give you my Walking Dead review. Um, and this is actually the beginning of a new season. Um, it's season 4, episode 1, and it's called 30 Days Without an Accident. Because they had 30 days without an accident. That's kind of, I guess, the Titans fit in. And it came out on October 13th, 2013. So I am getting closer to season 5. I probably will be ahead. Like, I'll be where it is. Like, I'll be caught up, I'm trying to say, by January, maybe. Um, and I couldn't really, I was going to make the videos earlier, and I couldn't really do that, because we had to kind of clean up my room a little bit, and my room looks way different now, and maybe I'll show you sometime. So it starts out with, where'd it start? Oh, uh, Rick is, going out, is just pretty much, I guess, wakes up and goes out there, and he starts edging. Um, yeah, he starts edging. Um, and he stumbles upon a gun, and he unloads it and puts it in the wheelbarrow, and it cut to the theme song. Now there's a bit of a time skip. Because it's definitely not where it was before, because the prison looks way different now. They're still at the prison. They have horses, pigs, which I liked. They have like a goat in there. It's just way different, and it was really a nice touch. So then it goes to the real, I guess, back to real life. The theme song's the same though. Um, and Carl comes out, and it feels like he's definitely matured. I know his voice, it sounds a little bit deeper than it did before, and he looks like he's getting older. And Rick, um, he asks Rick what's going on with Violet, which is one of the pigs there, and Rick says, "You don't name them; they're not piglets anymore. They're food." Because Violet is not doing well. She's just kind of laying there. And looks like I don't know what's going on with her. At first, I thought she was gonna have babies, but we see what happens later. So then Daryl comes up to Carol. They're all making food, and they have like a crap load of people now. I guess because I think I've been picking up people along the way, because the people that were in this episode definitely weren't the people they picked up before in Woodbury. Um, so she kind of, I guess, flirts with him, saying, I liked you first, and talks about how you save a lot of strangers and give them all their food, but yet you're going to have to deal with love. Kind of even really know. I think she was kind of flirting with him. So then she wants to go check something else, so she leaves Patrick in charge of cooking, and this guy is a total nerd. I don't really like him. He's just kind of a total nerd. He even acts like it. He was like, "I appreciate you for Dale for getting me that deal," and he offers. He's like, "Do I have permission to shake your hand?" And he does so. I mean, I bet Dale thought this guy was a loser, because this guy kind of is a loser. Um, just a loser. So then what happens next? I guess people the walkers go by the fence now. They kill him, and Tyrese's girlfriend, because we find out that she has a girlfriend. I don't think I've heard her name yet, and he says that he doesn't like killing all of these walkers. So I guess we find out too that Shasta's not his wife either, because I thought she was like his girlfriend or something, and she just kills him. They kill. He talks about how he doesn't like killing the walkers. He think we should be out there man to man, be out there doing the runs. Um, and Carol and Dale are talking about how they need to go make a run, and how all the walkers are just coming in dozens by dozens. I think more walkers are actually there than there were before, because they have pigs and horses there now, so that could be it. Um, and then I think Rick said he was gonna go out for a run, um, and Carl said, and he gives Carl like chores to do, and he says he's going to go to reading hour or something, reading time, because I guess he's still treating Carl like a kid, which is strange because last season he let him go out with the one with him before, so kind of a strange scenario. And Michonne arrives, she on the horse, and now they have a new way of opening the prison. They pull this rope down, and a red door opens, and I guess if a walker's near it, the door pushes them open, and they get stabbed into something, it's like a booby trap. And I think she was looking for Philip the governor, because she said, "Did you find him?" He's like, "No, I couldn't find him anywhere." And they're all happy he's back, and then she offers to go out on the run, and Carl's like, "You just got here." He's like, "I'll be back." So it was kind of a strange turn of events. And then I think even Rick says, "Are you going to be leaving soon?" Not really like saying it like he wanted to leave, but just asking her, and she's like, "I don't know." So I thought that was unique. So then Michonne, so then Dale and this guy Zach, who is going out with Beth. Well, I guess are dating because suddenly, and they kiss each other, and he kind of says could be possibly. He says he wants to start contributing to the group, and he said this could be the possibly the last time you ever see me. Are you gonna say goodbye? And she says no. So then this guy Bob comes up and wants to contribute something. He's been getting fed for a week, so he wants to contribute. So he goes along with them. And they go to this building that's abandoned that has a lot of stuff in it, a lot of alcohol in it. So I can tell you that. And then we find out that Zach tries to guess. I think it was Zach, right? Yeah, Zach tries to guess what's going on with Daryl. And Glenn went too when we find out too that Maggie is pregnant, so he wanted her to stay. And yeah, so then so Dale he says that you're just like a undercover, that you act like this big tough guy, but you really have feelings for someone. And I guess he guesses it right. It's kind of a comedy scene. So then they kill walkers, which it didn't show, but we know they killed them. I think maybe they just were like, "Hey, you already know what happened, so why the hell show it?" And Bob finds a dead one with just legs that doesn't have the body or anything, and then we look up at the roof of the building, and there's it looks like a helicopter kind of that was just laying there with a bunch of walkers walking on it. So this gets used later on. So then Dale, Glenn, Michonne, Zach, and what's his face, Bob. There might have been Tyrese and Sasha all go in, and they go in and they get what they need to get. And Michonne found like a stand-up poster of a zombie. I guess she thought was a real zombie, which I thought was kind of interesting. And Glenn was looking at like child names. And what else goes on? So then Bob comes upon the alcohol, and he feels something drip on him. And then he picks up the alcohol, and I thought he was gonna open it up and drink it, but he didn't. Then he puts it back, and the whole shelf collapses on him. I think two of them did. So then he gets stuck, and the walkers on the roof hear it. So they're trying to get it off him because his leg's caught, and the floor breaks in on the the roof I guess breaks in, so the walkers start falling in. One of them fell in and was just hanging there, which was awesome. But they all fall in, and Daryl shoot, and everyone just kills them. Tyrese still isn't he's gotten better at shot, but he's somewhat still kind of sucks. And Daryl didn't use his crossbow as much this time, which I thought was odd. That was like his main weapon. And then they finally, one of the walkers sees Bob, so they're trying to get close to him, and he's like ripping off his face. And Dale and Glenn make the save, and one of the walkers tried to like scratch and bite Glenn, but he was like wearing body armor, so they couldn't. And then, oh, sorry. something pops up, stuff pops up on my computer sometimes. So then I did it again. So then they get Bob out, and throughout all this, Zach gets bit in the leg, and they eat him alive. So then they lose Zach, and yeah, it was kind. Did it suck? Yeah, I guess. I didn't really get to know the character that well, so I didn't really care. Uh, there's gonna be the one thing I think is gonna be a flaw in this season is there's gonna be a lot of filler characters, because there's a lot of people now at the prison. Um, so I just think that's kind of dumb. So there's gonna be a lot of deaths this season, I think, um, because there's a lot of filler characters. Um, so then what happens next? Um, well, this isn't really well. What's the next thing I'm gonna say? The kids naming the walkers now, which because they have name tags on them, and Carl's like, these things are not people. They're not animals. These are monsters that will eat you, and that will kill you, pretty much. And they're like, no. I think they're being kids, so they think they know better, pretty much. They don't really. They're just kind of being kids, so they don't really know what's really going on. Um, so then, and he was with Patrick, um, which I thought was fine. And I guess he kind of acts like a kid too, because he goes to Wheaton now, and Carl didn't want to go. Um, so then eventually, Kale's the one that's doing Wheaton hour, and there was a guy in there, and then when he leaves, Kale is still reading the book, and then she releases, stops reading the book, and is gonna teach the kids how to use a knife, what a knife is, how to stab with a knife, all that stuff. I thought that was kind of odd, and Carl sees this, and Patrick didn't really feel well, so he takes off. I thought at first he was just gonna he was just lying because he didn't want to be a part of this, because it doesn't really look like he's a fighter. I mean, if you've seen this guy, you definitely know it. But yeah, that's kind of how it is. And but then Carl like sees what happens, and Carol's like, "Don't tell your father," and then he runs out. So this is probably going to be used in the future. And then Rick, earlier in the episode, had gone out in the woods to get, I think, food. Um, and he was told to bring a gun with him, which he did, which was a good thing he did, because it happens later on. And then he comes upon a deer, and we see a walker come up, and Rick hides, but we find out it actually isn't a walker, that this was actually a person, but she's pretty dirty, and she talks about how she hasn't eaten in days, and her husband will starve to death. Her husband's name was Eddie. I don't think I ever found out this girl's name. I know she's Irish, though, because she has an Irish accent. Well, I guess they call it a brogue. And Rick gives her probably bread wrapped in tinfoil, and says to take it. And she asks if they have a camp. And he says yeah, and he's like, and she wants to join the group pretty much because her and her husband have been starving to death. And Rick says, I'm gonna have to meet your husband because I have to ask him 3 questions. And she's like, okay. So they kind of go off and they talk about kind of not only useless stuff, but how these walkers, they were gonna get on the plane and go somewhere, and then their flight didn't connect because of the walkers. I don't even think she likes to call them walkers. And talks about how they've had to do like things they didn't want to do, like and they've had to see things they didn't want to see, like they had to hide from people that needed their help, kill people, kill walkers, all that stuff. And then they finally get to a camp though, and we find out this girl is just nuts. She's just crazy. Because when we see Eddie, he's not there. Now, I was thinking at first that Rick probably thinks this girl's crazy, but he's experienced this as well with Lori, so it's kind of how it is. So then he's like, just kind of looking around, and then the girl tries to stab him because he had given her a knife. And then he sees it coming though, and then she falls. and she wants to go with her husband because I guess her husband had been killed by the walkers, and she begs Rick to kill her, let her go with her husband, and Rick doesn't want to do it. So then she uses the knife that Rick had and stabs herself. And she's like, "What were the 3 questions you want to ask me?" And Rick asked the questions, which I actually wasn't expecting. He says, "How many walkers have you killed?" And she says that she didn't do all the killing. Eddie did, and then he finally got killed. Asked how many people she killed, and she just said herself. And he asked why. And she said because there's stuff you can't come back from. Um, kind of how it is, and then I think Rick can like wrapped her up in like some sort of sack or something at the end. I thought that I actually thought that was some good stuff. That this girl was just nuts. Um, I was just expecting her to be, you know, just starving to death, and her husband was gonna be there. I don't, and that's not how what it was. So then they get back to the prison, and we see Violet has died. And the walkers, I guess cancer doesn't work on it, four-legged creatures or animals, but because she didn't turn, um, or he, because we don't really know, we never really found out what Violet if Violet was a boy or a girl. So then what happens? Daryl comes in. They kind of do a lot of filler stuff after this. Daryl comes in and tells Beth that Zach didn't make it, and you think she was gonna like cry and break down, but she didn't. She actually took it really well. She was like, okay, and Daryl I think was shocked because she was like, and then she removes the sign that says days without accidents, and it said 30, and then she moved it to 0. Um, and she's like, I don't want to cry anymore, and I didn't say goodbye to him because I hate goodbyes. And Dale says he hates losing people, and then they hug afterwards. I actually thought they were going to be a couple, but didn't happen. Um, and then Tyrese says that he also hates being out there because, you know, of what just happened. I think he just hates this world in general. Um, Maggie, we find out Maggie actually isn't pregnant. And she said that she's pretty happy because she's just afraid to live, and she's afraid that she could have the same situation as Lori. And Glenn says that we live because we're afraid. So then what happens next? Rick tells Herschel about what happened, and he says, you tried to help her, but she just lost her mind. And I guess he's concerned that this is going to happen to him if Carl or Judith gets hurt. But Herschel says, you can keep these people alive, and this has happened to you before, and it won't happen to you again. Well, you'll come back from this if it happens again. So then, what happens next? I think Michonne looked at the map to see where next to look for the governor, and she finds a town. And then we see Patrick, and remember he was sick, so I think he was really sick. He was like wheezing, and he was I think like vomiting, and then he died. So then he came back as a walker, and that's how it ended. I really didn't care this guy died either. Like I said, he was like a filler character, but I didn't like this guy at all. He was just a loser, kind of, and you know, it doesn't like in their world, like he acts like everything's okay, but it really isn't. So yeah, that's kind of how it was. And this episode I thought was good. It really set the start of the episode off. Was it as good as as the first episode of season 3? Probably not. Um, but I thought this was good. Um, it was nice to see how the stuff has changed. The only thing that we've seen out of this episode, though, is there's gonna be a lot of filler characters in this season, and I have a feeling because obviously I don't think the governor's storyline's over yet. Well, because they can't just kill that storyline off. I think that needs to have a good ending. So I have a feeling eventually they're gonna find him, and eventually probably what will happen is Philip's gonna kill everyone, and Rick will be the one to kill him. Because I can see them doing that, yeah. The only thing I think I not liking about it is the filler characters. I know, I mean, it gets them, I guess the actors some money in their pockets, but it's gonna be a lot of killing in this season, uh, which is fine. But I think the main characters mainly are gonna be like the way they were before. Rick, Herschel, which I forgot to mention that Herschel has a fake leg now. Uh, how they got this fake leg, I don't know. They probably found it somewhere. Um, but yeah, that's a big difference. And now Herschel has a fake leg, um, which I think is, I guess, fine. I liked it better when he had the clutches because I don't know, I just did. Um, yeah, but I thought this was fine, and this season's gonna be good because this season will be Andrea free, which is awesome because I hated that girl. Um, but yeah, let's see. I'm not really too sure how good this season's gonna be yet because of the fellow characters, but we'll see what happens.